cultural courses. And then after Father Daniel Torson is an assistant professor of theology and a chaplain at Lewis University. Probably most of you recognize him. He's everywhere. He's very funny too, so if you don't know him, you should say hello. He holds a Doctor of Ministry degree from the Pacific School of Religion in Berkeley, California, with additional doctoral studies in Christian ethics from Loyola University, Chicago, and his current research is in social economics. And so please give a round of applause for our next two speakers, and thank you for showing up.
Hi, everybody. Hi. How are you? Good. Oh, that's good. 10 o'clock is a good hour. So I have a couple questions for you. We're talking about a post-racial ideal. And so I was thinking about what I wanted to say. You heard my introduction, and I teach a lot of courses on cultural issues. And I want to know, why is post-racialism, if that's a word, an ideal? Why is the idea to be post-racial? Why is that a good thing? Or is that a good thing? So, kind of in thinking about this, I thought the post-racial ideal has to do with a couple things. Number one, I think it represents the best of us. Okay? We want to believe that we don't treat people differently based on race, or based on gender, or based on any number of variables. But I also think in some ways it represents the denial in us, because we do. There's something called the colorblind idea, okay, this idea of colorblindness, which many of us are socialized to be colorblind, or say I don't see race, or I don't see culture. And my question to you is, do you see gender, or really the appropriate term for you sociology majors would be sex, someone's maleness or femaleness, male or female. If you see someone's gender, then you see someone's race. You see how tall someone is, or short someone is. And we do, whether we want to believe it or not, treat people differently based on those variables. All of us do, no matter who we are, no matter how hard we try. So the idea of being post-racial, again, I think it represents the best in us, but it also represents denial. I'm a mental health professional, and mental health has been especially guilty in pathologizing, or basically, that means to be crazy, okay? Pathologizing differences. We did it in slave times, we did it to Native Americans, we called people ugly names, and we basically said, if you are different, because we are frequently uncomfortable with this idea of different. If someone is not like us, frequently we think something's wrong with them, or frequently we think our idea is the right way to be. The United States, since its inception, has been race-obsessed. This is evidenced by things like the one-drop rule, which would quantify how much black blood someone had in them. Things like Actrude, right? Somebody being black, mulatto, etc. And so this idea of being post-racial, during the most recent election where President Obama was elected, they said he was a candidate who transcended race. Really? Did he? I don't think so. Did President Obama transcend race? Was he the only candidate who they ever used that phrase with, transcending race? And why is race something that we have to transcend? Why is race something we have to get over, as opposed to study, appreciate, and understand? I'll tell a personal story, because I often teach through narratives. When I was in high school, I went to a Catholic high school, which at that time was predominantly 90% Caucasian, and my best friend was white. And the older we got, especially as we got into college, the less we were able to talk about race. Actually, we're never able to talk about race. And I think our lack of discussions about it, as I was becoming more and more aware of race, ruined our friendship. So I have frequently shaped my teaching interests and my interactions with all of the multicultural people I know, which is everybody, okay, to be able to create a safe dialogue in which we talk race. Because I would say the United States is still race obsessed, because we're still talking about it and more unfortunately not talking about it, which is why this colloquium is wonderful. You know, frequently we talk about, and I'm just going to keep watching my time here so I don't talk too much, you know, academics do the talk. Okay, but frequently, you know, we talk about slavery and we talk about some of the other things that have shaped race. Race is not a black and white issue. We frequently make it about blacks and whites, but we're leaving a whole lot of other people out of the dialogue on race, which is why my interests are primarily into multicultural issues. But some of the things that happen on the news today that you hear about, gang violence, higher poverty rates among racial ethnic minorities, have a lot to do with our lack of discussions and appreciation for racial variables in the United States impacting us, right? Race is far less of a biological variable, the biological differences between race, and more of a political, socioeconomical, value variable. It has less to do with the physical differences and more to do with what we assume about those differences. You know, and unfortunately, this idea that race is something we need to get over and stop talking about, I think is problematic, as opposed to appreciating it and talking more about it. Frequently, you know, one of my students said, you know, do you remember, maybe not, Benson? There was a show, Benson. Does anyone remember Benson? I know I'm old. I'm old. Okay. Okay. So Benson was a show about an African-American guy who started out being the butler in the governor's mansion in California. He ascended to be the lieutenant governor. Okay? Yeah, right. But he did. Okay? And one of my students said she grew up in a town that was predominantly white, and the first time she saw a black man, she was 4. And she said, Benson! And what did her mom do? Shh! Don't shh! Right? What did she learn? What did she learn? From being shushed. Don't talk about it. Thank you. Don't talk about it. Don't ask about it. And I think when we don't talk about it and we don't ask about it, I have seen, if you look around the room, we have a lot of diversity in the room, but a lot of times people will come to Lewis and they won't build cross-cultural friendships, right? They will sit together in classes and never find out about one another, and we won't have the dialogue on race that we should, you know? So, you know, I was going to talk about a bunch of things today. As like I said, any good academic is well over-prepared. You know, but I think it's more important to understand why is this idea that we don't talk about it harmful? Any guesses? Why is it harmful, not helpful? Oh, I'm asking. Go ahead. Right there. Put your hand. I see some of my students.